All right, that's reasonably stable. So, welcome once again to D&D in Hindsight, where we look at 3.5 books. If you're watching this video, then the algorithm is recommending you weird things if you don't know what this is already. But
Welcome
hey,
to our
Kate.
corner of the internet, though.
Huh?
Welcome
Yeah,
to our corner of the internet, though.
exactly. Hey, Case. I'm Vincent,
I'm the Krampus.
I'm Hunter Green.
and I'm Vincent. And this week we have for you Dragon Magic. So, yeah, this is a book, and it's more dragon, it's more magic, and the title is probably the vaguest one we've dealt with at all. So, is this book magic cast by dragons? Is it dragons conjured from magic? Is it a family restaurant named Dragon Magic, complete with singing animatronics? No to all the above, by the way.
Before you go to the next slide,
Uh huh.
I have a question for everyone. Is behind that guy, is that the dragon from Shrek?
No, subtle difference in color, but the other dragon is magenta and this one's purple.
Ah,
Also of note, this is a green cover. I don't
Oh.
know what it means, but it is a green cover. But yeah, any case, this is a book full of basically dragon-themed character options, working on the idea of dragons being more involved in the world and a source of power and magic for the characters. Also, the dragon blood subtype makes its return from Races of the Dragon, which this book is a very loose offshoot of if you squint hard enough. Anyway, event, the book starts with races. Or rather, dragon-themed variants of core races, as well as some others, starting with the only one anyone actually cares about, which is the Silverbrow humans. They're humans without the extra skill point, but with the dragon blood subtype, and they get Featherfall once per day, plus 1 extra use per 5 levels, and plus 2 to disguise, I guess. If you need dragon blood for things, this is probably your best option, honestly. There's also variants for other races. It works along the same lines. Also of note, they gave Drow, lizard folk, hobgoblins, and full orcs this treatment as well, as all the races from the base book. Just as an added little thing.
Yeah. It's basically just take a race, add a little bit of dragon to it, take away one of the things it had before.
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Sometimes adjust like stats a little bit. But yeah, very minor adjustments. And next we have more alternate class features, only dragon themed. Let's see. For example, here is for example, I mean like all of them, but aspect of the dragon here is another attempt to turn wild shape into something simpler. This is even simpler than the Player's Handbook 2 variant, as it is just yeah, 5th level, you get to grow an aspect, which is just pick one of these things, which is Dragon Breath, Claws, Heart, Mind, Wings. Get a number of uses out of it equal to what you would get for Wild Shape. As you go up in levels, you can have more than one aspect, etc. Breath Stealer, you can delay a dragon's breath if you're in a very specific campaign, if you really care about this. Draconic Fist, which is in place of first level feat, which is notably when they get Stunning Fist normally. Instead, they can have a swift action that adds some energy damage. 4 basic types of energy, not the most useful thing. Dragon Scale Husk, which is probably the most interesting, though not necessarily good, of all these alternate class features. For several reasons. First, this is one of the first ones where it's just broad open. Any standard class that gains proficiency in heavy armor can take this alternate class feature. And it's not actually locked to a single class or a couple of them.
Okay.
It also has a special requirement of being dragon-blooded. That's not as big a deal. But it replaces the entirety of your armor proficiency. And instead lets you basically grow dragon scales. That have a scaling AC. Although it scales with your class level, so if you multi-classes isn't as useful, or it doesn't scale as well. Gives you energy resistance that again scales with class level. Let's see, it counts as medium armor, has a max dex of +2, has an armor check penalty of -4, and has no spell failure chance. So
so you can full cast in equivalent of like half plate or full plate and not worry about your spells fizzling.
Yeah, the hitch is all of its scaling is tied to the class that actually has the heavy armor proficiency, so your spells would have it, it's like how well that actually is going to work for you with multiclassing. It's an option with multiclassing, basically, but braces of armor themselves go up to like a +8 and don't have any of the other restrictions, so it does kind of compete with that. But it's an idea that works for some builds. I think the notable exception here is Duskblade, I believe, never has heavy armor proficiency, can never actually cast in heavy armor, however, without incurring arcane spell failure, so it is an actual alternative for them. Granted, I'm saying that from memory, so don't quote me on that, but
Okay, so not a true anybody could take armor, but it broadens the availability of people who are taking dragon stuff from the book and can get some use out of it and be more tanky as a spellcaster.
Yeah, and with all the alternate races that are dragon blood plus minor changes, but you're still that race. And by that I mean the Silverbrow human, mostly. But point being, it is very easy to get dragon blood after this race, so it's not really much of a clause. And still be whatever you were, or whatever race you actually wanted to be initially anyways. Let's see. Our stuff, Draken Familiar. This is... yes. Basically just... there's replacement... Draken Familiar, Draken Steed Mount, and Phoenix Companion are basically dragon-themed variants for Paladin Special Mount, Animal Companion, and Familiar. But they're all in the later sections of this book, but that's basically what all those are. Favorite of Bahamut / Tiamat, which is an interesting one for Favorite Soul of all things, replacing all the weapon proficiencies with, let's see, they gain claws. Can actually choose a sorcerer spell learned at level 1 to add to the list, which they're spontaneous casters, so they just straight up can cast that. 12. Yeah, they basically get sorcerer spells, which is actually kind of interesting. A bit as they go up, eventually get wings, etc. Inspire Awe from Bard instead of Inspire Courage, which will... yeah, you can make things shaken. That is certainly a thing you could do instead of like the broad party buff that you generally is the signature of Bards. Not exactly the best replacement there. Clerk or Paladin, get Rebuke Dragons, which you can use to try and take control of dragons. Good luck with this. I believe Turning is based on hit dice, and dragons tend to be undercons, so technically it's Rebuke on this one, which is hold them at bay / if you get a high enough check, command them, but yeah, really good luck with that one. Shamanic Invocation, which is for Dragon Shaman, and is... Okay, sometimes it's an alternate class feature, and sometimes it's just a buff to a weak class. So this is replacing one of their 7 dragon auras that they get, or draconic auras they get, as a choice. They can only have one up at a time anyways. So you drop literally your worst aura, and you just get a free least draconic invocation, which is from the class later in this book that we'll get to. But it's just like, this is a non-cost for just something for free. And Uncanny Bravery here, Barbarian Rogue give up improved Uncanny Dodge in order to gain immunity to Frightful Presence, which is just solid if you're fighting dragons. And +4 or bonus on other fear checks, which is a nice bonus as well. Also, they're giving up improved Uncanny Dodge, which doesn't really come up very often anyways, so yeah, sure, why not? And on to the feat section. The feat section is very focused around a few things, but mainly there are a lot of draconic feats in here.
Dragon.
But first and foremost is this Dragon Touched one, so in case you weren't already... it's another way of getting Dragon Blooded, because it literally just gives you that, in addition to a few other little bonuses, and lets you actually qualify for... Because Draconic feats were originally Sorcerer feats. This one lets you qualify for them as if you were actually a Sorcerer. Not all of them have Sorcerer levels as a prerequisite, but many of them do. Also notable about Draconic feats is they scale with the number you have. So like Draconic Census here, which is just a bonus to basically the perception skills. Equal Draconic feats, though if you have 3 or more, you also gain Dark Vision. If you have 4 or more, you gain blind sense, stuff like that. Uh, Also, Dragonfire channeling here, which you can use Tartar Rebuke to Breath Weapon. Like 1 die per 2 cleric levels, so you do actually kind of have to be a cleric for this to work, but it's not a bad way of gaining a minor cone, effectively. I believe default, yeah. Right, half damage is half of it is fire, half of it is sacred, or if your Draconic Heritage happens to be something else, it can be other elements, including Sonic. It requires different heritage than is listed in this book, but there are dragons that deal Sonic. They're gem dragons. Let's see. Also, Dragonfire inspiration here, which... That's right. Lets your inspire courage instead of giving bonus to attack and damage rolls, and just deal extra d6s of fire damage or whatever draconic element damage. Another one there. Dragonfire strike here. Extra damage from sneak. Oh, that's right. You can turn your extra damage from sneak attack into into elemental damage, which is generally a debuff, but it also has an extra d6. Depending on what you're fighting, because you're still doing some physical damage because your weapon is always doing physical damage, so you're not really overcoming DR or gaining around DR, and you're subjecting yourself to any resistances they may have to, especially if you're doing like fire.
Yeah, but you're only going to use it when you actually want the element, so
that's true too.
Like you're not required to do the damage replacement, so it's only a benefit, really.
Yeah, it is only a benefit. And an extra d6 is an extra d6. In most situations, that's all it's really going to amount to, which a feat for an extra d6 on sneak attack is not bad, as long as you qualify for it.
Yep.
Yeah. Which, let's see, Dragon Blood subtype, and no, that's it. Charisma 11. Charisma 11, I think, is the highest cost on that. You have to not tank your Charisma. Also reprinted here was Draconic Heritage, but they actually edited the feat a little bit. I believe it was... I forgot exactly how, but they did. Just trust me. Draconic Knowledge. Gain bonus on knowledge checks equal to the number of Draconic feats you have. All knowledge skills are class skills for all of your classes as well. Okay, that's a way of gaining knowledge psionic that we were trying to figure out the other.
Just be a sorcerer.
No, you can have Dragon Touched. Dragon Touch will
actually sorcerer level 1.
Yeah, over here. In addition, you can select Draconic feats as if you were a sorcerer of your character level.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you can do Dragon Touch, then Draconic Heritage, then Dragon Knowledge.
Fair enough.
Or you can I think we found one feat that just did, so whatever. Let's see.
Yeah, Draconic... there's an Eberron feat that gives you all the knowledge skills.
Yeah. Let's see. Draconic Armor. This was when you cast DRX magic for a round.
Meh.
Yeah, it is meh. But if you're looking for feat stat, a lot of these scale, so if you're looking for something, it's not the worst in the world.
That one doesn't.
No, but I mean, a lot of the other ones scale with the amount of Draconic feats you have. So
yeah,
if you're
there's
looking for a filler feat.
I take Draconic Armor.
That's true, but there are also ones you wouldn't because I left them off the list because they were that bad.
Fair.
Then there were also the Draconic, the specific heritage ones, which were not all interesting, but I did put the interesting ones in here at least. Blue Dragon ones, standard action, convert an arcane spell slot into an orb with range of 30 feet, range touch. Each orb you get an orb per spell level of the spell slot you gave up, and they deal a d6 plus charisma damage. This is actually good scaling. Also, this is a supernatural ability.
That one's actually good because it adds flat stat.
Yeah, it's also supernatural, so you ignore spell resistance. And yeah, because you had flat stat, it's going to probably actually be in excess of just doing a d6 per level. Yep. If you're using the high slot. And if you're using low level stuff, it doesn't care about saves or anything, so it's pretty solid there too. Bronze Dragon Lineage, let's see, spell slots. Each opponent within 30 feet of you must begin its next turn by moving at least 5 feet away from you, which is just funny. Direction doesn't matter. Still provokes attacks of opportunity as normal unless they do a 5-foot step. This will save to negate, but yeah. This is a swift action to activate. That's what was decent about that, actually. Copper Dragon Lineage, standard action, cast an arcane It can also like force people who are in melee with your allies to either take a 5-foot step and therefore not be able to attack your allies, or take an AOO to and only make one attack, because they would have to leave and then come back. Basically, it can actually screw with things that fail to save and action economics pretty well. Let's see, the copper one was 20-foot radius burst of energy centered on you. All enemies in the area are slowed for a number of rounds. It is a standard action for that one, but at least it's that. Number of rounds equal to the spell slot unless they succeeded a fortitude save. Yep, so not awful CC on that one. Gold Dragon one was a swift action, arcane spell slot. All allies with 30 feet of you gain a luck bonus equal to the spell slot. They can apply to one saving throw as immediate action. Number of rounds equal charisma modifier, which is a decent number of rounds. Just a floating luck bonus if you know there's going to be saves coming up in the fight. Let's see, reds. Standard action, 15-foot cone again. D6 fire damage per level of spell. Character who fails to save takes another D8 fire damage per level of spell, and then another D8 the round afterwards if they fail to save. They do even fail to save, but it's, yeah, effectively equals like normal damage dice, give or take. Silver Dragon Lineage, standard action, convert arcane spell into a paralyzing blast. All adjacent enemies are paralyzed for a round. Fortitude save to negate. The spell slot only really cares about the DC on that one.
Yep.
And White Dragon, swift actions. Enter a state similar to Barbarian's Rage, except nothing like it. You gain temporary hit points and resistance to cold equal to 5 times the spell's level. Unlike Rage, it doesn't restrict you from casting spells or doing anything. What? Unlike Rage, it does nothing that Rage does. It doesn't give you any of the restrictions of Rage. but as a swift action for like some temporary hit points and some cold resistance.
Yeah.
Also in this book, initiate feats, which same idea basically. They get you have to be a cleric. In this case, you also have to be dragon blooded, and also you have to worship one of the dragon deities. The benefit of the feat is some random trinkety bonus of one sort or another, and added spells on your spell list. Many of which are in this book. And finally, ceremony feats, which are an interesting little thing. They all require you to have ranks in knowledge or religion. Basically, the more ranks you have, the more rituals you unlock. The idea is basically effectively spend money in order to get a 24-hour buff on usually the party, or a significant number of people. Sometimes the party, sometimes even more than that. But yeah, like armor scales here, for example. Knowledge religion, up to 4 participants get a minor natural armor bonus. Takes 30 minutes, lasts for 24 hours. The lowest rank one is +1 natural armor and requires the ashes from a wooden shield of any size. The second one is +2 natural armor bonus and you need ashes from a masterwork wooden shield. And the final one is +3 natural armor but requires ashes from a +1 or higher wooden shield. If you know you're going to get in combat for the day, it can't. Notably, this is natural armor, so if you don't, not an enhancement bonus natural armor or anything, so it will stack with the amulet natural armor, which is the general go-to for how player characters get natural armor, assuming they're not, I don't know, a half dragon or something. But yeah. And notably, these are all
one of those various races that pays a effective level adjustment
for like one natural
benefit
armor. Yeah.
Of getting one natural armor.
Yeah. Instead, you could pay like a feat and a normal fucking wooden shield is not that much.
Like 5k gold, whatever.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's cheap as hell. But yeah, they're interesting. Kind of hard to justify as a feat, but also kind of there are worse things to do with feats if you just don't have anything else in mind. All right, so on to Dragon Esprits. More specifically, onto the classes, starting with the new core one, Dragonfire Adept, which is built on the Warlock chassis, except Breath Weapon instead of Eldritch Blast, and Dragon themed. So it gets a Breath Weapon supernatural ability that's usable every round and starts as your choice of a 15-foot cone or a 30-foot line until it doubles in size at level 10 to 30-foot cone and the 60-foot line. It deals damage identical to what Eldritch Blast would do, so it's a d6 scaling weirdly up to 96 at 20. It deals fire damage as a default, and it's reflex save for half, which is con-based. Also, like Eldritch Blast, it can be modified by breath effects, which we'll cover in a minute. You also get invocations like Warlock, though only 8 as opposed to Warlock's 12, but Warlock has to spend its invocations on the stuff that affects its blast, so it evens out in the end, give or take. But in any case, that leaves you with 2 each of least, lesser, greater, and dark invocations from its own list of invocations. The saves are charisma based for invocations in this case. They also get natural armor that starts at a +2 at level 2 and scales very slowly up to +5. And also will not stack with any natural armor you might normally have. So that level adjustment goes to waste if you have it. As well as a +4 bonus on diplomacy versus dragons and dragon-blooded things. Immunity to Frightful Presence, DR2 magic that eventually scales all the way up to DR5 magic, and immunity to paralysis and sleep at level 19. Now let's jump ahead in the book to stare at some other stuff. So, breath effects here. So, they get breath effects at levels 2, 5, 10, 15, and 20. They also get access to more different breath effects at levels 2, 5, 10, and 15. So basically they gain 1 from each choice category and like an extra 1 at 20. Yeah. Notably, the elemental ones, which is probably going to be one of your first 2 choices because Sickening Breath just sucks, but like they will always have a shape or a specific shape. So Frost here, which does cold damage, you have to actually use a cone with that one. Lightning Breath is a line. When you get to 5 is actually when you get Acid Breath, because I'd actually rate Acid and Lightning about the same, but Acid does have the notable advantage of it can be both a cone and a line, so there's that at least. Shape Breath is the only except. Oh yeah, you can only normally have one. You can only usually use one breath effect on a breath. Shaped is the exception. Where you can apply that and another breath weapon. It also lets you. It basically lets you negate 4 spaces and just not hit those, so you can not hit your allies when you're using a breath weapon.
They should have dodged.
Yep, you should have dodged. All right, one other exception: you can't use the same breath weapon 2 rounds in a row. Yeah, slow breath here, which deals 2 rounds of slow. It lets it make successful fortitude save, in which case it deals 1 round of slow, so they're still fucked. Just less so. Additionally, -1 penalty armor class, attack rolls, reflex save, blah blah blah. Are we just describing slow here? Yeah, we're describing slow here. Multiple uses of this breath don't stack, I only use long duration. You also couldn't stack multiple uses of this, it has a 2-round duration. I guess just
people.
Well, yeah, no, that's the thing. You can't use the same breath effect twice in a row.
Yeah, but you could have multiple Dragonfire adepts.
Oh, you could have multiple Dragonfire adepts. That's true. Weakened breath, which is rather fucking strong, actually. Let's see. Everything in this cone gets a -6 penalty on strength scores for 4 rounds, or an accessible fortitude save for 2 rounds. Just nerfs enemy combatants pretty freaking hard. Cloud Breath, which turns it into a 20-foot radius spread centered on you. Oh yeah, also lets you apply another breath effect. As long as it can be applied to a cone shape 1. But yeah, it turns into a point blank AoE on you. Let's see. Enduring Breath takes a normal amount of damage for breath weapon, then half that amount next round, so just more damage basically. Sleep Breath. Exactly what it sounds like. They sleep for a round. Successful will save they're exhausted for a round. Again, they're just kind of fucked either way. Although any creature's anti-succeeds your class level is unaffected by that, so not the greatest on that one. Thunder, which is sonic damage, and fortitude save instead of reflex save, which can just be good. Also only has to be a cone. Okay, now 15 and the fun ones. So let's get force out of the way. It does force damage. And can only be a line. Sorry, we'll get paralyzed out of the way. Instead of dealing damage, it paralyzes for a round. Alright, so anyways, Discorporating Breath of Bahamut here. Notably, you can't take this breath if you're evil. Deals double the amount of damage. It is a line, I believe, by default. Yeah, it is a line shed by default. But yeah, deals double the amount of damage. If anything's resisted to 0 for your hit points, they're disintegrated. It's a fortitude save instead of a strength save. And you take, for using this one, you take damage equal to twice your class level. Non-lethal damage. Or is it non-lethal? Wait. You also take a number of... No, it is just damage. Yeah, it is straight damage. If you're non-good, you also take, or you take 4 times instead of 2 times. It's still generally worth it because it's fairly strong. On the other hand, it also has to compete with the 5-fold Breath of Tiamat, which you can't take if you're good, and is exactly what it says on the tin. You breathe 5 times. You do a cone of acid, a cone of cold, a cone of fire, a line of acid, and a line of electricity. Each of them reflex save. And again, you also take damage equal to twice your class level, or if you're non-evil, 4 times your class level. The only hitch on this one is you also can't use a breath around afterwards, unlike Discorporating Breath of Bahamut. But yeah, the other main reasons to stay in this class till like 15.
Look, you can't use a breath next round. You did 5 this one, so...
Yeah. It's just telling this class that I can't use a breath is basically telling this class, okay, find something else to do for a round. Hopefully you took an invocation that actually is a standard action. But yeah, as far as invocations are concerned, the least ones, they're all pretty much straight utility, and not many bad ones, actually. Aquatic adaptation here, just straight up getting a swim speed and you can breathe underwater. Beguiling influence, 6 bonus diplomacy, intimidate checks for 24 hours. Alright, to re-explain invocations, they're spell-like abilities, but they also have semantic components, so they're practically fucking spells. You have no limit on the number of uses on them. Armor interferes with them, as would for any arcane caster, and the main thing about them being spell likes is they can't actually be counterspelled or they can't actually be counterspelled, which is not a big deal, but it's there at least. Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, Draconic Knowledge was just +6 to all knowledge and spellcraft checks for 24 hours. Yeah, a lot of these are basically you're choosing a class feature of choice, basically. Magic Insight here is just detect magic at will, and if you concentrate enough, you can identify. See the unseen, you just see the invisible for 24 hours. You also gain dark vision to 60 feet. Then on the lesser ones, Charm here, it's an unlimited charm monster, basically. Draconic Flight, which is one of their better ones in general, especially when you're using breath weapons. But yeah, you fly with good speed, or good maneuverability equal to your land speed. And then Dark has an upgrade to it where it's your land speed plus 30. Though you get that at like 15, but still, it's an upgrade if you really want it. Energy resistance here, which is energy resistance 10 to something of choice for 24 hours. No, it's just a standard action to recast it, so if you know you're going to want a different resistance, it's not hard to replace during the day. Enthralling Voice here, let's see. All within 40 feet who fails a will save to become fascinated. This is one of the few ones you'll actually hypothetically cast in combat. Fascinated is basically a CC. But yeah. Frightful Presence, which was one of the more interesting ones too, and one of the ones that actually makes you want to have charisma. Yeah, so this is a swift action. Any enemies within 30 feet of you who fail a will save become shaken for 10 minutes. It's a mind affecting effect. If they're immune to Frightful Presence, this doesn't work. There's no other restrictions on this. If they pass the save, they still have to make it the next round when you do it again. You could just keep doing this. In and of itself, getting them shaken, who cares? But if you have something else that's doing another fear effect, then they're frightened, and at that point, they're not doing anything. It's, yeah. Humanoid shape, shapeshift. Just straight up shapeshift for 24 hours. You can look like whatever the hell you want. You can run around as a gnome if you're a degenerate or something. I don't know. Void Sense, blind sight to 30 feet. Again, you're basically choosing spell features. Voracious Dispelling. It's a dispel magic, which is not bad to have. Also does like a bit of damage when you dispel someone. Also, notably, I think this is one of the few that overlaps with Warlock. Because Draconic Invocations and Warlock Invocations they're both invocations, but they can't choose from each other's lists. They're just different lists. Walk Unseen here, can see invisibility. See the Unseen and Walk Unseen also are on the Warlock list as well. I think they have the exact same text as they did on the Warlock list, but I can't guarantee you anything there. They do sometimes like to name two abilities the exact same thing and have completely different text for what they do. Just happens on occasion. Aura of Flame. I believe this is yes, this is just damage shield. You do damage to anyone who hits you equal to caster level. Fire damage equal to caster level. Chilling Fog, which is solid fog that also deals damage. Notably, solid fog, anyone in it basically has a movement of 5 feet, so it is just a tar pit. Devour Magic's the greater dispel. Draconic Toughness is you straight up cast temporary hit points equal to your caster level. Again, you can just keep recasting this every time it goes down, and just enter combat with a bit of extra temporary hit points. Terrifying Roar, 30-foot cone. May well panic things or shaken things. Notably, if you're using Frightful Presence, these are two different effects applying a fear effect, so these will stack, and you can make things fearful that way. Or you get things frightened that way, which means they just basically run away. Energy immunity, basically just upgrade of energy resistance, straight up immunity to energy of choice, and again, you can recast this whenever, it just takes a standard action. And Perilous Veil, which I put Veil over here, but is basically a party-wide illusion. And anyone who successfully disbelieves this illusion also just takes 5d6 damage, because it's funny that way. Yep.
How dare you look through my illusion? Whack.
All right.
Illusion with a fist.
Yep. So, some final extra bits. There are no feats directly for this class in this book, so I grabbed a couple from Complete Arcane and the Monster Manual. Yeah, so Arcane Focus will absolutely work on your breath weapon. It is just straight up a +2 DC. It's just a good feat for them in general. Extra Evocation will actually work for them because it is worded that way if you want to pick up more evocations for whatever reason.
It's not specifically Warlock Invocations, so...
Yeah. Multiclassing is like Warlock in that they can use Arcane Scaling classes to which instead of gaining levels, caster levels, it increases their ability, but it's slightly worse as it scales breath weapon damage. It gives you new invocations, but it doesn't give you more breath effects or the bigger AoE at level 10, making it have an actual cost to multiclassing as opposed to Warlock, which you're getting rid of features you didn't give a flying fuck about. And granted, most of the features you don't really give a flying fuck about, except for like the bigger AoE on your breath weapon, and the breath effects are absolutely useful. So yeah, as far as this class itself goes, it's good, but is almost always using an AoE attack, meaning that you want to know how to manipulate lines and cones, especially while flying, since you have easy access to that. It is also the only class that has Con as its main attack stat, and while Charisma is used for invocation DCs, if you want to just take invocations that don't have saves on them, the only stats you're really going to care about are the big three, Dex, Con, and Wisdom. But you do also have like 4+ int skills, all the charisma skills as class skills, and an invocation that adds a typeless +6 to all all of those skill checks as well. So you make for a really good face. The biggest annoyance with this class is the lack of class features that matter at most levels, and the need to stick around in this class in order to get the breath weapon effects, which are extremely limited selection. There's no feat to gain any more. But yeah, other than that, nonetheless, it's a reasonably strong class on its own. And entertaining enough.
Consistent.
Yeah. Alright, so on to the prestige classes, starting with Diamond Dragon. It's a Manifestor class that loses 2 Manifestor levels and gets, let's see, 3 instances of your choice, of +1 of your choice of Strength, Dex, or Con. An immediate action that stops you from being put to sleep or paralyzed for the cost of 1 power point. Standard action that makes you 2 Dragon Claws that can that I can forget numbers on. That costs 1 power points, can be augmented for a +1 to attack and damage at the cost of, or a +1 enhancement bonus to attack and damage at the cost of 2 power points each to a max of 5. They're natural weapons, but in addition to that, whenever you manifest, you can, as a swift action, make a claw attack as well. You also have a breath weapon supernatural attack that costs 5 power points base, scales with your int, does your choice of a 30-foot cold cone that has a fortitude save instead of dex, and does 5d8, a 60-foot line of electricity that does 5d6 and increases the DC by 2, a 30-foot fire damage cone that does 5d8, a 30-foot sonic cone that does 5d4 Norzal hardness, and all of these can be augmented for an additional die for every power point. So it straight up just scales with your manifestor level. Let's see, you also get standard action to grow wings, costs 7 power points, gives you a 30-foot perfect fly speed, and augments for +5 movement per 2 power points. Also Dragon Tail that costs 9 power points, that has twice the normal reach, can't make attacks of opportunity, and augments exactly like the claws. Every 2 points is +1 enhancement bonus. And the capstone, Frightful Presence Aura, which costs 11 power points and lasts for 5 rounds, giving you a 60-foot radius of scariness that causes enemies in range to become shaken on fail will save for the rest of the duration, and augments for +1 round per power point. So this is the most damaging breath weapon available to players, which makes a meta breath feats extra funny with this class, which I did not talk about with Dragonfire because they have sweet, glorious nothing to do when their breath whip is on cooldown, so the meta breath feats kind of have a double-edged sword to them in that respect. But this class is also a manifester, and I guess can waste a bunch of actions making natural weapons as well if it really wants to. That stuff's the least appealing parts of this class. Yeah, beyond that, the flight is still nice. It's perfect fly speed. It's also a supernatural action to manifest it, so that all the powers here are supernatural. No heroic staff's opportunity. Which means they can actually manifest wings and take a 5-foot step up, diagonally up and backwards, or just straight up, which is, if nothing else, funny. But yeah. Next, Dragon Descended. The monk class of this book. So it gets... Yep. Wait. We go through this whole thing first. That is the base result. But yeah. Further monk scaling for... so it gets further monk scaling for unarmed damage, AC, and speed. The ability to channel your chromatic dragon ancestors, which you can only have 1 active at a time until you get the capstone at 10. You can switch between them initially as a standard action, which eventually becomes a swift action. They consist of Rampage Ancestor, which gives you a +1 that eventually scales to +3 insight bonus to attack and damage rolls. Subtle Ancestor, that gives you plus class level to hide and move silently, as well as sneak attack dice as a rogue of your class level. Probably that's what I parsed from how they wrote it out. Eldritch Ancestor, which gives you ranged touch spell like ability that deals a d6 per 2 class levels. Enduring Ancestor, which gives you plus insight bonus to saves equal to half your class level, and DR equal to your class level to Cold Iron, which is actually more solid. And Ancient Ancestor, which lets you make an attack of opportunity whenever someone makes a melee attack against you and gives you plus half your class level to AC. Let's see, you also can Bardic Knowledge with your concentration with a limit of once per week. Slippery Mind, which lets you make some nerve save against failed mind control effect around afterwards, and Detect Dragon Blood at will. It's detect evil, but dragon blood things, including dragons. Yeah, this is mostly underwhelming until 10, though not overly so if the sneak damage scales like I think it does for Subtle Ancestor, but in general...
It's very confusing.
It is very confusing, but yeah, it does feel overcautious. I'm going with, yeah, sure, it works that way. We'll just go with that.
Like, it says you can make sneak attacks as a rogue of your Dragon Descendant level.
Dealing extra 2d6
Dealing an extra 2d6 points of damage.
There's several ways to interpret that. There is, you just deal damage as a rogue of your level, and the 2d6 is, because you get this at level 3, that would be what a rogue of your level would do. And then it would scale as you went up in the class, and considering all the other ancestors scale with class level, that would make sense.
Given that they're calling out 2d6, what I think they want to say is that you get 2d6 sneak attack,
Yeah.
but your effective rogue level, which is really only relevant for uncanny dodge or improved
Yeah.
uncanny dodge, is your class level.
That's the only other thing, except nothing else that gives you sneak attack cares to call that out in any other class, so that's a weird thing to call out specifically. Not they're prone to doing weird dumb shit like that as well, but yeah.
Like, it's just very weird to specifically call out 2d6 points.
It
of
is.
attack damage.
Or
like,
if
there are other scaling effects in that ability because the
yeah.
skill bonuses scale.
Or alternatively, I'm going to be extra generous. You get the rogue sneak attack damage as a rogue of your level, and an extra 2d6 on top of it. but that's giving us a good class feature in a monk prestige class, and we can't have those.
I'll toss that right out.
All right, Dragon Lord, a draconic aura charisma martial leadership class that eventually gets 4 draconic auras that scale to +3, like the Dragon Shaman from Player's Handbook 2, and we'll talk about that in a minute. It also eventually gets 3 times per day standard action buff that gives your charisma modifier number of allies a +1 morale bonus to saves, attack, and damage rolls, as well as 5 temporary HP. However, all of this will double if you use it on a cohort or follower, for whatever that's worth. Plus half your class level damage against creatures flanking you, even if they normally can't flank, if you normally can't be flanked. +2 to your leadership score when attracting Dragonblood cohorts, and a free action intimidate against a charisma modifier number of targets within 60 feet whenever you reduce an opponent to 0 or fewer hit points. So leadership isn't technically a prerequisite here, but it does less without it. With that said, it's a simple character with a full base attack bonus and a passive aura too, so it pairs well with more complex companion. But as far as the auras go, I pulled them from much more forward in the book, much like the Dragon Breath effects and Draconic Invocations. They're all in the next chapter. Because why would you put all the stuff relevant to a class in the same place? That'd just be silly. But yeah, they revised Draconic auras a bit in this book. First, going over the classes with it. In addition to Dragon Lord, the Prestige class that we just talked about, and Dragon Shaman, which got or already had Draconic auras, Marshals can actually take them in place of major auras. I don't know why they'd want to, but they can. Assuming you're sticking around in Marshal, I guess, and actually want a bigger variety of auras than the ones offered in the book. Some of these could be nice as alternatives. It's just one of the base ones is just +1 to melee attack rolls, and it's pretty much a go-to. I don't think there's a Draconic aura that's quite the equivalent. It does other things, so you might want them, but whatever. Also, notably, True Dragons can actually get Draconic auras as well, by basically trading spell slots away. As far as the aura effects, so in Player's Handbook 2, the Dragon Shaman had 7 Dragon auras to choose from, and over the course of 9 levels got 7 Dragon auras, so you just basically got all of them. They added quite a few more here. Let's see. Yeah. Some of them are duplicated, some of them aren't, but I put I literally put, here's the Draconic Shaman's Dragon auras, and here's the ones that are actually, these are the ones from Player's Handbook 2. Some of these overlap, some of these don't. Like, Energy Shield is unique to them. Power is a different power than this power, so the power in Dragon Magic gives you bonus to cast level checks to overcome spell resistance. The power in this one is bonus to melee damage rolls equal to your aura bonus. The rest of them are the same if they have the same name, so presence, resistance, etc. But those two are specifically stupid like that. But yeah, just you have actual options as far as Dragon or Draconic auras you can choose from as a Dragon Shaman. In addition to that, there were a couple of feats in this book, like Draconic aura, which doesn't even require you to be any of the above. You can just take it as a 3rd level character and you get a Dragon aura. It's only a +1 Dragon aura, so it's not going to be great, but It does allow you to get more, and much more importantly, double Draconic Aura, as I call it, the 12 level feat if you're going to be a Dragon Shaman at all for 12 levels. Lets you project 2 Dragon Auras at the same time. That thing that should have just been a fucking class feature, but you know.
I don't know. Make it a feat.
Alright, so anyways, on to the next class. Hand of the Winged Masters, a sneak skill monkey class that gets Draconic Senses feat for free, or a free Draconic feat if they already have it. Plus 3d6 damage with your choice of Sneak, Skirmish, or Sunstrike, depending on what you ever use to get into class and or want to add to. Dragonfire Strike as a bonus feat, and eventually a +1 damage per damage die when you use it, which is not bad, but that's like a level 9 ability. Double duration for harmless arcane spells cast on you, and the capstone, True Stealth, which lets you hide and move silent around things with senses that normally wouldn't let you do this, but at a -10 penalty, and is outdone by this feat I put over here. Does the same thing with no penalty. And has no prerequisites. Yeah, so this is a pretty straightforward mez. The extra damage doesn't make up for the loss of like 2.5 sneak attack dice, and Darkstalker this is just a feat version. It's a better version of this capstone. Also notably, they can say the same thing in 2 completely different ways, and I'm impressed in their ability to invert sentences. Let's see. Packbound Adept. Yes, an arcane class that will also have us flipping further in the book to look at something. So, Dragon Packs here. So, a sorcerer of 4th level or higher can try and make a Dragon Pack via spellcraft and other checks, plus offering money and a spell slot. Gain a number of spell-like abilities in exchange for in exchange for that spell slot from one of these tables, based on whatever spell slot they gave up. Renegotiating for higher level stuff only requires you to pay a extra money and not go through the rest of the go through the rigmarole of the thing. So yeah, basically, if you gave up a level 5 spell slot and chose Breath of Winter's Domain, for example, you would gain 3 Obscuring Mists per day as a spell. These are all spell-like abilities. 3 protection from energy colds, and 1 ice storm. Yeah. So, anyways, back to the class. This class gives up 2 caster levels for eventually plus 2 caster level of the spell-like abilities from the pack. Packs you normally use your sorcerer level for the caster levels of the spell-likes. It also gives. Let's see. And you also get You also get spells eventually, as if you would give the spell-like abilities you get from your pack also are from 2 levels higher than the slot you gave. Eventually, from 2 levels higher than the slot you gave up. So if you gave up a 5th level one in our previous example, you would instead get the benefits from a 7th level one, thus gaining more shit, including cold. Let's see. Also, 3 times per day, still and silent on a spellcast for, I don't know when this matters, but I guess it can. Eschew Materials is a bonus feat, and the Capstone, which lets you have 2 Dragon Packs instead of 1. So, well, I guess you could do this, but kind of why? I mean, if you found a pack that was worth it, or a custom-made one, going into a class for this is kind of boring. Though probably effective. I mean, being able to jump 2 levels up on these isn't insignificant. And if you find a good mix of spells, it's probably worth the spell slot, but at the same time, you're also losing like 2 levels of casting in order to do that, so yeah, I don't know.
Losing the 2 levels of casting, I think, is the bigger part.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't even get because initially you get 1 level higher, but that's the first level of casting loss, and 2 level higher is the second level casting loss.
Level casting loss, yeah.
Let's see. And the next one, Swiftwing, a divine class that also dragons, which is surprising for this book. It loses 2 caster levels and gets proficiency with your deity's favorite weapon, bonus to social skills with a single type of dragon with a close alignment to yours, the Dragon Domain, the Draconic Senses feat, or a free Draconic feat if you already have it, An at-will standard action 30-foot positive energy cone that deals a d6 per class level damage to undead and heals the living for 1 per class level with charisma-based reflex save for half. 20 resistance to your chosen dragon's energy, which eventually becomes immunity. Good maneuverability wings with your land speed for movement eventually becomes 2 times your land speed. They can be surrounded or dismissed as a free action and doesn't harm your clothes when they're out. DR5 magic, and a capstone that gives you +1 to a physical stat and +1 to a mental stat. So yeah, if undead, probably good. If not undead, then meh. That's pretty much the extent of it. I mean, like, it's a cone where you don't even have to worry about hitting your allies. As a matter of fact, you're trying to, which is at least kind of interesting. But again, it's not undead. It's not worth the action generally. And finally, Worm Wizard, a preparation arcane caster that loses 3 caster levels and gets the ability to meditate for an hour to give itself plus class level to Knowledge Arcana and eventually Spellcraft checks for 8 hours. 5 instances of adding a spell of a level you could cast from any spell list to your spell list, including divine spells. The ability to gain a free metamagic feat on a 2nd level spell you choose when you gain this ability, as well as 4th and 6th level one later. Each of these is once per day. The ability to spontaneously cast Dispel Magic to counter spells only. And the capstone, which lets you give up a prepared spell to suppress the spell resistance of a creature whose spell resistance you've already overcome for 1 round per spell level you gave up. While it is a bit painful to give up 3 spell levels, there is some stuff here, and a 2-level to dip 2 levels to grab a divine spell is kind of actually tempting, and may let you qualify for something that you have no business doing normally. It is a little bit painful in the spell casting, but it's got even more versatility than you normally get from a wizard, which is saying something.
Yeah, 3 level loss is a lot, though.
Yeah, it is. It'd be interesting to play at the very least, because you are getting, like, several divine spells over it. The other feature is more meh, as it really is just the divine spells. Right, so, on to the Draconic Magic chapter of Dragon Magic, which is their catch-all for practically fucking everything in this book that wasn't the classes and races. And feats, I guess. But yeah, starting with the spells. There are a lot of them, but here's the highlights. Notably, Arcane Spell Surge, which is fucking ridiculous. So, yeah, level 7 spell. Also, notably, there's new Wu Gen spells in here, because they remembered Wu Gen existed for this book for some reason.
That was nice of them.
Yeah. But yeah, standard action, lasts a round per level. Your spellcasting time improves for everything. Your standard action spells are now swift actions. Your full rounds are now standard actions. Anything that's 2 to 10 is 1 lower. That's not a big deal. Notably, this is not optional. And you can't downgrade actions. A swift action spell can only be cast as a swift action. You cannot cast as a standard action. However, if you're doing something in order to make the spell take longer, like applying metamagic as a sorcerer, then that full round spell becomes a standard action, so you can use that to cast a metamagic spell as a standard action, and then another spell as a swift action as a sorcerer with no issues. Also of note, if you're dragon blooded, you can cast this spell itself as a swift action, which means the first round of combat, you can cast this spell as a swift action and then start summoning things as standard actions. Also of note, aspect of the Chromatic and aspect of Platinum Dragon. These are straight up swift actions that turn you into things. Also come with a bunch of temporary hit points, and you can guess what they turn you into. Also notably, Chromatic Dragon can only be cast by evil aligned characters, and Platinum Dragon can only be cast by good aligned characters. And they are sorcerer spells only. So more sorcerer spell only is in this book as well. Yep. Call of the Twilight Defender. It is a summon that you can actually end early in order to heal you, which I found kind of neat. Is also an example of several of the spells in this book, in the sense that just knowing this spell actually gives you a competence bonus on knowledge nature checks. This mildly annoys me, except none of them really matter that much, because you may well get a competence bonus from somewhere else. They're only a +1 when it comes to any of the skill ones. The most powerful one when it came to the extra ability I didn't put on here because the spell wasn't really worth talking about, but is you gain 5 resistance to cold that notably stacks with any other cold resistance you may have. But it's also on an 8th level spell, so okay, who cares? Also, Dragon Shape Least, which turns you into a Pseudo Dragon. Dragon Shape Lesser, which turns you into a Young Dragon. Dragon Shape Normal and is not in this book. I actually had to look this up. Dragon Shape is from Player's Handbook 2. Yeah. Let's see. Horde Gullet, which is fucking hilarious and actually a really good level 1 spell, because standard action lasts level round per level. You can eat you can eat things, and literally it's a bag of holding, except you eat things in order to put it in the bag of holding.
Nom, 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 nom.
It's nobly just a level 1 spell. That's actually not a bad effect for it. Just carry a crap ton around for basically just good utility. Let's see, just the worm.
So you get it back.
Huh? Yes, you do get it back. You can't just vomit everything up.
No, I mean like until you get it back.
Yes. Let's see. Yes. Just as the Word King, swift action to give yourself a 46 damage shield, and also several of the spells in this book are also give you the ability to sacrifice another spell slot to basically increase their effect. In this one's case, it's 2 extra damage per level of the spell slot you sacrificed, which can actually be a decent damage shield. If you're doing 46 plus 10 points of damage every time something hits you, they're going to stop hitting you. Unless it's for a lot of damage that's going to knock you out. Also notable were the 4 primal spells in this book, which are, again, trading out spell slots for class features. In this case, bonuses to... Well, okay, here's a bonus to climb, jump, and swim. A competence bonus to climb, jump, and swim, which is not actually bad, especially as a level 1 spell that lasts all day. Notably, if you're Dragon Blade, you also cast as a swift action, which is really moot because you're just going to cast at the beginning of the day, but I guess you can. All of them enhance with that, and all of them also enhance with the more of them you have up. So if you have 2 of these up, you just gain a free Uncanny Dodge, and if you have 4 of them up, you gain a free Improved Uncanny Dodge. Notably, they are a level 1, 2, 3, and 4 Ranger spell, so it is something a Ranger can just do, is just cast each of these at the beginning of the day. At their Dragon Blood subtype. A couple of them. The Swift and Immediate actually don't mean anything, but these 2 will actually give you some extra bonuses. Oh yeah, also this one's a +5 competence bonus on Initiative and Survival. More importantly, it's a +5 competence bonus on Initiative for a level 2 or 3 spell slot. There's little reason not to cast this after a while, especially as a Druid or Ranger who doesn't have to go out of their way to memorize it. Let's see. Rod of Ages here. Cloud of Ryan Debris. Target sickened. Oh yes, this is an example. That's right, that's why this is here. So there's also several spells in here. None of them were terribly all that great, but they are enhanced when cast by a specific type of dragon. So this one is a swift action if it's cast by a black dragon. That's capable of casting 3rd level sorcerer spells. Let's see. Soul of Order here, there's basically 1 for each alignment on these. They'll do basically the same thing. Morale bonus on, let's see, well, yeah, bonus of subsort or another, and in addition, if you happen to have one of the other ones, you're going to get DR as well. Like DR3, insert the 2 opposite alignments, basically. And our swift actions if you're actually that alignment. And finally, Undying Vigor of the Dragon. Dragon Lords, 5th level sorcerer spell. It is a full round action, but immediately heals you for 5d6 hit points, and you can sacrifice an extra spell slot for that many more dice of healing. It's an arcane spell that heals. Those are non-existent, basically, and it is sorcerer only. Also, for Dragon Blade, it heals an extra 1 per die. Yeah, if you're looking for some way of healing yourself as a sorcerer, it's probably one of the better options, honestly.
It's pricey because it's like a 5th level spell, but yeah.
Yeah. It's pricey until it isn't. I think I said something about there being no further psionics past the complete psionics, so apparently I lied and didn't realize it, because this book This book has a little bit of fucking everything, so I really should have suspected there would be psionics in here. Beyond that,
I
there's...
believe you lied to us.
Yep. Beyond that, there's nothing terribly great here, although they're more themed around, like, the gem dragons from Monster Manual 2, if you remember them.
They are the psychic ones, so.
Yes. Yes, the psychic ones, which we talked about in detail in our Monster Manual 2 review, which will exist one day. I probably. It was 3.0. We skipped 3.0.
Yep.
But yeah, there wasn't terribly much really worth talking about because none of these were that great, but yep, they exist. It's the other reason why I didn't remember them. There are also Warlock invocations immediately after the Draconic invocations, but yep, we're talking about Warlock at the time. But yeah, various other little things like Deteriorating Blast here. I don't... let's see, Dragon Ward here, which is great if you're specifically dealing with dragons. Yeah, great if you're specifically dealing with dragons. And nothing else. Let's see, Fortune save for average damage reduction lowered. That's actually kind of neat. Unfortunately, multiple uses don't stack. But yeah, they're very much themed around fighting dragons rather than being draconic in power, but similar thing with this book. Also, new draconic soul melds in here. There are several more, but these were the two most relevant ones, which are the Claws of the Worm.
Remember that soul melds exist.
Also, they remember the soul melds exist for this book, and only this book. This book has fucking everything. Notably, yeah, Claws of the Worm, unlike the other totemist ones, you just shape it and you have claws. Usually you have to bind to your totem chakra to actually get the natural weapons out of this one. This one's just shape it and essentially just gives it an enhancement bonus to attack and damage. Same with the tail one. So yeah, they're just really good for totemist in general. Also, tail, I guess, can be used by Incarnate, technically. And a new vestige. Asherdalon, Pyre of the Unborn. Yep. Asherdalon was a red dragon of unusual greed and power. That is a sentence you just said.
Red dragon. I'm gonna eat all the babies.
Yep.
All the babies.
All the babies. Yep, he sought to control a vast stretch of land and ravaged it with cruel hunts for food, sport, and power. So great was Asherdalon's power that many cults grew to revere him as a deity and followed him in what they believed were holy wars. In time, however, an alliance of rangers and elves managed to defeat Asherdalon's armies. Shortly thereafter, the dragon faced a powerful druid who had risen to defend the land and was nearly slain. As a near god, however, Asherdalon was a force to reckon with, even in defeat. He hid in the outer planes for millennia and, through complex machinations, managed to replace his heart with that of a Balor, becoming a creature of even greater supernatural evil. Renewed, the dragon made an assault on the Bastion of Souls in an effort to destroy all living creatures. There, Asherdalon faced a distant descendant of the druid who had vanquished him once before and was truly killed. It's the player character for the module, isn't it?
The player character from the module.
Yep. Still, his death at the birthplace of all souls, combined with his near deific status, allowed him to resist a permanent resting place. His essence lacked the power to become a true immortal, leaving him only the nebulous existence of a vestige. Yes, Asherdalon has come up several times, including his own crappy dragon prestige class.
Yep.
And is the final antagonist of Bastion of Broken Souls.
He's the boss of Bastion of Broken Souls. The whole idea is going there to kill Asherdalon so he doesn't, stop all life from existing. Or any new life from existing.
No, for no real reason.
He is literally eating from the well which souls come out of to be reborn.
Delicious.
He's eating the babies before they're even born.
Exactly. Pre-babies.
Yeah.
Ribs dripping with life essence falling off the bone.
Asherdalon is not pro-life.
Hey, case.
On the contrary, he thinks life is delicious.
Very briefly until it's in my tummy.
Okay, so this is a level 8 vestige, which is the highest level vestige, and it sucks by the standards of level 8 vestiges, quite frankly. It is not actually very good.
Wah, 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 wah.
That's the only actual thing about this. Yeah, Ashardalon's Presence is a fear spell that you can cast. Has the same 5-round cooldown that they all do, which is okay, I guess. Except you could... There's just so much better level 8 or Frightened level messages. And even below that. Beyond that, let's see. His Vigor, when you bind him, you gain temporary hit points equal to twice your binder level, which who cares? DR 10 Cold Iron and Resistance to Fire 30, which is at least okay defenses, but yeah, no, it's just not. It's just not worth one of your 3 slots at that point. Also, again, you're like level 15. Good majority of things are going to be immune to fear, depending on what the campaign is. Okay.
It does give you a recklessly large bonus on search checks.
Yeah, there is that. It is your binder level and appraise and search checks. You'll definitely find that thing. Just remember to search at all opportunities in order to annoy your DM.
Good.
Yeah. Draconic Companion Spirits, which are just like Companion Spirits, which means they're not really all that worthwhile, but it's the same idea of like group pays money, group gets some collective benefit that pulls from the same well or something or another. But yeah, figured I'd point those out for the like one person who cares. And yeah, magic items. There are a lot of magic items in this book. Okay, there's not that many magic items. There's more of a different category of magic items. There aren't really terribly much that's worth it. These did stand out a little bit. Dragon Slayer claws, which are worn on claws. Yeah, worn on claws. You, I believe, actually as a prerequisite have to be dragon. Yeah, made for dragon creature. Yeah, negative level if you're not a dragon or have the dragon blood subtype, but yeah, it basically enhances claw damage. It's a typeless extra d6, and against dragons or something with dragon blood subtype, it's 3d6 instead. And it's treated as magic, I guess, but you also probably have an amulet that does that as well, which is not bad for a cost of like 2,500. They're glove equivalents as well. Also, tail bands of impact, which enhance tail weapons if you happen to have one. Beyond that, there's also Dwemer Dragon Scales, which are just magic items made from dragon scales. It's the short of it, and they threw every dragon they could in here, including lung dragons. Yeah, like notably this
Boruto of the Carp Dragon.
Yep, a Boruto of the Carp Dragon. It's a belt. But yeah, belt allows you to breathe water, but can't breathe air while it's on. Also gives you swim speed equal to base land speed. Just good for doing water stuff. Cooper Brooch. Notably on these, and somewhat annoying. So this one is 3 times per day as a full round action that you get from reading the activation, and then down here in the effects it tells you this. Even if it has like multiple effects, it will always tell you what actions are required up here in the activation, and then tell you the effects down here in the effects, making everything kind of unwieldy to read. Yeah, notably, like the Dark Class here is a 3 times per day swift action. So both the limit and the amount of times you can do it is in one paragraph, and what it actually fucking does is down here. Just to be annoying. Also here, alternatively, the wearer can perform as a single move action or standard action. Okay, that adds to that, right? But yeah. And yeah, Dark Class here, which is an extra 5 foot reach. None of these were terribly great, but it wanted to fill space. Also filling space, here is an item of wonder.
Really, just literally everything they could in this book.
Everything they fucking could in this book, yes. Also, whoever decided to do the actual like tail for the Wormbane helm really fucking hates common names of any sort. So yeah, this is the tale of Teferia Tir Yistre, whose father was sent to be the minor lord of an area bordering the frontiers, which had a dragon problem. Notably, were menaced by the brood of Scurry Kazinar. Sturry Kazinar. Yep.
That's simple enough.
this kingdom of Solon and blah 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 kills a great blue. Kills one of his brood, Kazinar, and makes him into a helmet. Then blah 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 ravages the dragons. King dislikes her because she's actually liked by people. Can't directly kill her, so makes a deal with Sturry Kazinar. Eventually, so she gets ambushed by she and her companions get ambushed by him and his brood. She manages to kill Scurry Kazinar, however, and the king eventually builds a shrine to her for her deed, or something or another. Yes. Beyond that, it's an item of legacy, so it's less shit than weapons of legacy generally are. That doesn't mean it's built great, although Dragon Bane is at least kind of funny, because straight up, every melee weapon you wield has Bane against dragons. And your spells also have effectively Bane against dragons.
Effectively Bane. 2d6 damage and 2 higher DC.
Yeah. Beyond that, eventually gives you a charisma boost, I guess, and eventually gives you a strength boost. Also lightning. Alright. And on to the bestiary section. Draconic beasts. Yep, so there's an aspect of Bahamut that you can turn into, with like a bunch of extra hit points. There's the aspect of Tiamat that you can turn into.
Yeah, a bunch of extra hit points.
Yep.
Not pictured the 8 elementary and middle school kids that menace Tiamat on a regular basis.
There's the Drachensteed.
Yep, the Drachensteed, which is the replacement for the Paladin mount if you want it.
Yeah.
So it's a flying mount, which is also a nice bonus.
Yep.
The Phoenixkin, which is an animal companion variant for Druid. The Red Spawn Berserker, which is in this book.
I love his face.
There's a model of that, the D&D mini of that dude. Mm-hmm. It looks exactly like that.
Wow, wonderful. Okay. The Red Spawn Berserker is in this book because it's in this book. There's nothing in the spell section, feat section, or anywhere else in this book that references the Red Spawn Berserker. There are no other spawns of Tiamat in this book. It is just the Red Spawn Berserker here. Because... Yeah, I guess they had to put it somewhere. The Twilight Guardian, which, if you guessed, was a dragon-blooded plant, from the name, good on you, I guess.
You're lying.
I was gonna say that. Not good on you. You're lying. Stop lying.
Let's see. Also in this section, variant dragon abilities. So instead of dragon, just variant various different things. Instead of frightful presence, just various different presences dragons can have. So like awesome presence, burning presence, freezing presence, etc. And variant dragon special abilities by dragon type. So like different special abilities for a black dragon or a brass dragon or copper dragon or bronze dragon, etc. Which we will not go over in detail because no. And the final chapter of this book, Draconic Campaigns, which talks about basically campaigns done with kind of the premise of this book that dragons are just more active in the world. Like the power behind the throne, sometimes really fucking literally. But yeah. Also introducing
King Drag On. There is no relation to dragons in any way, shape, or form.
What about the dragon behind your throne?
That's a statue.
I need you to take an extremely important missive in the indecipherable dragon tongue to the dragoness next county over.
That dragon standing behind me is actually an elaborate animatronic. Don't worry about it.
Seems legit.
Yeah.
It was created by my great wizard, Disney.
I feel like this plot is going to get out of hand really fast. But yeah. First and foremost, how to introduce draconic elements. Either it's just rare or it's new. Dragons just got really interested in the world. Don't think about it too hard.
New errata for the great game came out.
Yeah. We'll get to that later.
Shit. We hit turn 3. Let's get in on the shit.
But yeah. Draconic campaign models. So are the dragons like the bringers of destruction, or are there just dragon kings ruling various things? And this is a dope as shit fucking picture forever.
That's a great picture of the dragon. A regal cape.
Regal cape, claw on the sovereign's orb. It's actually he's wearing a crown.
Giant dragon throne he's sitting in.
Yep.
If anybody would like to calmly come over and explain why I'm not the king of all I survey,
His
I
dragon
will do
Fabergé
you
egg.
It's a sovereign's orb, but yeah.
I'm sure he has a Fabergé egg around there somewhere.
Yep. Yeah. Also, dragon overlords, various ideas. Like, white dragons aren't really going to be ruling directly, but more just going to intimidate someone else into doing it. Also, minions and adversaries for dragons include various factions and all the stuff that comes with that. Draconic locations. So, like, here's a dragon lair. Here's a dragon library. Here's a temple of Tiamat. We have a hard time getting dragons to fit in this library after a while. I guess that's not that bad, actually. God,
That's the size.
yeah,
It's like 30 feet wide at any point, so.
yeah, that's probably
Like, you
okay
can't-
at least.
You
Some of
can't get
these,
a colossal running around there, but you could get like large huses and even like gargantuan. Like colossal's 8x8, but gargantuan 6x6.
they can also squeeze, I guess. Some of these
squeeze.
bookcases might be a bit tight, but that's about over here. But this section's probably not too bad.
What they don't show you is that the entire top of that is actually a basking platform for the dragon who can't fit inside. He is the library. You just poke him and ask a question.
Guess that's an easier way of doing that. And finally, just an adventure thrown in the back, the Battle of Dragonfall, which here's a picture from the adventure. Not really going over adventure in details, as again that defeats the purpose. And finally, the back of the book. So yeah, that is Dragon Magic. It is dragon themed character options. I would say as well. Say
options with also a shotgun smattering of every other source book that exists.
Practically, yeah. I'm trying to think what they forgot.
well, okay, when your game is named Dungeons and Dragons, you're gonna go all out and be like, okay, so let's work dragons into everything. Psionics,
and then there's like, you don't need to. Like, I mean, doing an Ashdown binder is cool, even though Ashdown's rules are crap.
Yeah.
Like, it's a cute thing to pop up, but, like, you don't need to do this.
No, you don't. I mean, on the other hand, I'm glad they did it. I mean, it's...
I mean, Ashdown, sure. But there's a lot of other ones where it's like, hey, here's,
I mean, yeah,
a couple new Warlock invocations. Here's, I don't know, 2 psionic powers.
Here's an item of legacy for the...
Here's an item of legacy, because we know how much you guys like those.
Because we haven't realized that this book is an utter failure yet. But, yeah. With that said, like, the good sections are good. The spellcasting is... The spells are solid enough. The Dragonfire app is fun. I can't really fault that one. Yeah, it's by no means a waste. Also, just the alternate dragon blood races at the beginning include, which are Silverbrow human, and a bunch of other races no one cares about. But it's Silverbrow human, which is sure I'll give up the skill point for dragon blood and Featherfall, I guess. Sure, why not? If I need dragon blood for something, that is probably the best way of doing it, honestly.
Keep them on feet.
Yeah. Also, just take a feat. Or, yeah, when you get another feat, yeah. And you can also just take a feat for Dragon Blooded. It's a bunch of ways to gain Dragon Blooded. Now, why you want to get Dragon Blooded? Pretty much just stuff in this book, so...
This book and the other one, yeah.
Yeah. And then the other one was more Spartan on it, but... There were things, but it wasn't...
The other one was much more having Dragon Blood, but specifically being a sorcerer.
Yeah. But yeah, as just a final product, I think it's fine. It's fine to good, actually.
Like, I think it's just weird they shotgun so much random,
It is.
onesie, twosie, and all this stuff, but like everything else is fine. That's just an odd design choice to splatter it with every source stuff, something from every source book that came before it for no real well-defined reason. But the stuff that is just like in there, the core of the book is perfectly fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the weakest point is it doesn't. Well, okay, I wouldn't say it doesn't sell the premise of like, okay, here's stuff for a world where dragons are involved in day to day bloody blah. It's like, okay, realistically, players are just going to want to use this book as a source of various things to choose from, and it's fine if they do. It's not like anything's broken here or anything. The closest thing I could say is the level 7 spell that makes spell casting quicker is easily breakable, but so is most of spell casting. So it's a little.
I think you're also level 15 at that, or no,
No, it's
13 at that point. And spells have been breaking the game for quite some time by then.
Yeah,
so
this is long past my point of trying to care about like, okay, if the player's not restraining themselves, you have no fucking hope.
Also, it's mostly a benefit to something like a sorcerer who tends to be weaker than wizard just because they don't have the breadth of spell selection.
Yeah,
because wizard doesn't have easy access to full round casting unless they're just casting a bunch of
a bunch of summons. The stupidest thing you can do if it is just cast a bunch of summons.
It lets a sorcerer mostly like I can swift cast this and start doing meta magic.
Yeah. But yeah, a wizard would primarily be using it so it could cast a summon spell plus a normally standard action spell of one sort or another in the same round, and it is actually kind of dumb when it comes to action economics on that spell, especially if you're actually doing a summoning build. But yeah, anything that like turns summoning from a full round cast into a standard action cast is just broken. Yeah.
Does it affect summons?
Yeah, it affects full round casts.
But summons aren't full round casts; they're 1 round cast.
I believe it affects 1 round cast. Let's go back and see if we can find. Wait, I went too far. One full round becomes a standard action.
And full round is different than 1 round cast.
No, casting time 1 full round.
Yes, casting time 1 full round takes a full round action. Casting time 1 round takes until the start of your next round. These are defined different types of casts.
Summon. Casting time 1 round. Oh, well, we'll figure it out between streams.
Hold on, I'm pulling up the casting time rules.
Okay. Spells, I think. The rules compendium, I can actually. Level, components, casting time, immediate, swift, standard, round. Okay. It does not look like there's actually any difference between 1 round or a full round, other than they just wrote it different.
Weird stuff. So it's like a spell that takes 1 round to cast is a full round action, but the effect doesn't happen until the beginning of your next turn.
Yeah.
In the round after you begin casting the spell. But then full round is a thing because the whatchamacallit, the meta magic spells for sorcerers are full round.
Okay, yeah.
So there's a full round. So 1 round spells are full round. They just don't take effect until the start of your next turn.
Yes. With the exception of meta magic. When a sorcerer uses meta magic, it does specifically call out that it goes off that turn. It just takes them a full round action to do. It's normally a standard action. That's where it gets kind of weird. But yeah, otherwise there's no real difference between full round casts.
Yeah, dumb.
I mean, yes, but I don't agree with that part. 3.5 is full of very weird niche exceptions to exceptions. But yeah, any final thoughts from anyone?
A lot of interesting stuff on dragons and associated dragon stuff. Like Shiv said, there's some stuff they probably didn't need to touch, but hey, it's interesting that they touched it in the first place.
Yeah.
Good if you're into dragons.
Yep.
Hey.
I do like the fact they actually remember that Magic of Incarnum existed.
It's an oddity. I mean, it doesn't make it good. But
No.
I wish they'd remembered Magic Incarnum than made Incarnate good.
If it was published after Player's Handbook 2, it might have been better off.
Magic Incarnum 2, we didn't fuck it up this time.
Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much all for this book, so we'll be right back.